Now, before we started live here tonight, folks, here on the In Ring Wrestling Podcast, I was yelling at my older son. See, Casey, we have a young dog, and
Yes.
he hasn't quite figured out the routine yet. So he'll pee like crazy outside, but pooping, he'd prefer to go inside. And
That happens sometimes. I've seen that happen to wrestlers,
there've been
you
some
know.
there've been some hidden surprises, shall we say?
I've been in the room before where they decided that the corner where the desk is going to be the urinal,
Oh,
so maybe the dog's the same way.
maybe.
That's his toilet.
It is. Hey, so we're celebrating a little bit here on the In Ring Wrestling Podcast. By the way, over to my right, your left, that would be in clad in red. That's our host and the inventor of this whole thing, not of the internet, not of podcasting, but rather of the In Ring Wrestling Podcast. That's Casey Thompson. And I'm Kevin Kelly. And today we're here to celebrate 500 subscribers. Woohoo!
That's right.
Take the wins.
We said from the beginning that we were in it for the long haul,
Yep.
that it was going to be, handshake by handshake. It wasn't a marathon. It wasn't a sprint. It's a marathon.
Right.
And I mean, that's our 500th subscriber. I mean, in the podcast world, it might not be a lot, to
Right.
some of these guys that had millions of subscribers. But you know what? This is just me and you, Kevin.
Yep.
We're just out here just turning it on and talking about our experiences in professional wrestling. I was with WCW for the longest time, did a little WWF, dabbled with it. You were with WWF, behind the scenes, so we tell everyone about our experiences and our adventures. We have toilets in the hotel room in the corner. We've been
Yeah.
through it all. And we,
We,
tell everyone all the stories that some people might not even tell them, but we like to tell all from A to Z, behind the screens, you name it, we talk about it here. There's no from what I understand, there's no holds barred. I mean, everything's on
nope.
the table, right?
I'll give you for instance. So last weekend I was doing seminars in West Fargo, North Dakota, which
Nice.
we it was part of a big show for Below Zero Wrestling at
Mhm.
the Lights, which is an outdoor concert venue. Basically, Fargo, North Dakota was always Fargo. And west
Yeah.
of town was, I'm guessing, farmland that over the last maybe 10 or 15 years they've started to develop because this is just all new and all beautiful. And it reminded me of Florida, actually,
Oh wow.
because it was very flat and it was very green, a lot of scrub brush and things like that. But they've built all this new stuff, new hospitals, new this, new that, and it looks great. And one of the things that they have is this concert venue with apartments surrounding it. It'd be amazing to live there. Called the Lights, and they
Wow.
had a big show there. So we did a seminar during the day. The reason I bring it up isn't just because I want to toot my own horn, toot toot, but I met a friend of yours while I was there.
Oh.
He is the father of a second generation wrestler.
Oh, really?
He was part of a tag team that mainly would be known for their WWF work, then probably second for their AWA work, and then third
Oh,
WCW.
wow. Oh, really? Old
Yes,
school.
they were
Wow.
very in their day and in their time. They had some controversy around them for some of the ways they treated the enhancement guys, and I'm talking about Minnesota's own Wayne Bloom, one half
Oh,
of
he's such an asshole.
one half of the Destruction Crew, one half of the Beverly Brothers, and whatever they were
Yeah.
called in WCW.
Mike Enos was AWA. They were Men at Work, I believe.
Yeah, they were something.
Yeah, Mike Enos is really, really cool guy. He was Wayne Bloom's tag team partner, and uh, all the time everyone's like, "Oh, you're such an asshole." He's like, "It's not me. It was Wayne." He's like, "I'm always getting heat all the time from everyone talking about us being. And it's always Wayne the asshole." Mike Enos was such a great guy. I used to room with him all the time. Him and Jerry Lynn
Mm-hmm.
back in the WCW days. So, and he was involved in the me breaking the two $60,000 cameras during one
Sure.
TV match. He was partially involved in it. Of course, I'm the one who
Wait,
got called the booking office. They were already sliding out behind me.
was he
They
Dick
said he'd buy
Slater's
all the
tag
drinks.
partner?
Dickie Slater.
He was Slater's tag partner in this fiasco.
Yeah. Yeah.
$120,000 worth of damage. Look at you.
Yeah, I know.
Paul Orndorff just wanted good Christian boys out there. I always love that story. Don't they want
Oh,
to be in the
yeah.
wrestling business?
I was like, this is crazy. Good Christian boys. Okay,
Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, they
Well,
all are.
oh, let me tell you something. I never met Wayne Bloom before in my life, and he was nice to me. He was nice to me. He was sitting next to me with his son, Cal Bloom, who was in NXT, and I can't remember what his name was, but anyway, he wrestled on the card, and oh boy, um,
Mm.
it was a terrible match. It was the worst match on the show by far,
Wow. I
and
guess we're not going to have him on the show as a guest.
no, well, it didn't end there.
Oh, okay.
It's okay to have a stinkeroo if you're it happens, right?
Everyone has a bad match.
You go out there with the best of intentions. You don't plan to have a bad match unless you're Davian Owen and Mankind and Al Snow, and then you were racing to have the worst match of the night. Anyway, we'll tell that story
Yeah.
some other time. But when you get done, and I mean, the kid was nice from all indications, a nice kid, good looking, well built. Like I said, I
Okay.
don't remember what his NXT name was, but I certainly remember the name Cal Bloom because I remember when he got signed because I was like, oh, second generation. Anyway,
Oh, he got signed and apparently
and
released.
released, and he he had some of the worst footwork I've ever seen. Casey,
Wow, that's bad.
he was slipping and it's not like the canvas was slippery. It was just like he couldn't get his feet underneath him. And I
It's
don't
like
know
he's
if he
walking
was
on ice.
nervous. He was wrestling a 27-year vet, an older guy. He
Wow.
wears a mask. Super nice dude.
Hmm.
And a small guy. It's easy to have small guy, big guy match.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You stand in the middle. Little guy bounces off of you. Little guy
Yeah. Sell
flies.
everything.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Wow.
Now you chalk it
Did
up
he
and
know it or did he think it was good?
just you wait.
Oh,
Just you
okay.
wait.
Oh, wow.
Because Wayne Bloom had the nerve to go to the promoter and ask for more money after this fiasco.
For
Didn't the
him or
kid?
his son?
Well, it was implied that it was for the son, but obviously Wayne was looking for a little payday. Well, I helped
Was
lay out the
Wayne part of the
match.
show or is this there with
No,
his son?
he wasn't even booked. He didn't even go with him to ringside. He just signed some autographs.
Yeah, this is what you are. This is when we talk about being carny. This
Mm-hmm.
is a prime example.
This was super carny. And it was so carny, a part of me felt almost like, I don't want to say refreshed by it, but like, this is what it used to be like. This
A
is why
lot of those
people didn't
carny
want to.
guys are all dying off. So
I
yeah, it's probably
know.
a little refreshing to see someone that is still keeping the gimmick going.
Keep the tradition alive. This used to happen all the time, folks, when you booked a name, when you booked a legend, when you booked a so and so on a third party booking or whatever. They would find a way to have not something right, something's wrong, something this, something that, and I need more money. And
Yeah.
since you booked them through the office, you really couldn't call anybody, and you did your best to try to keep the relationship going, and the talent knew that, so they would take advantage of you, or the promoter would have the sense and the balls enough to say, "Get out of here." And then on Monday, they would call the office, whoever they booked them through, and say, "Tell your boy he's never welcome here again." And
Right.
no, he's not getting his extra $200. Well, that was what Blaine Bloom wanted. And he said, and I heard this from the promoter, well, didn't the kid do good? And it was like, and the guy, bless his heart, the promoter didn't have the nerve to say no. He wasn't good. No, he was terrible. But yeah, he was terrible. And Then,
Wow.
well, I help lay out the match and this and that, and can I get a couple of extra, can we get a couple of hundred extra bucks for the travel and for the time? And he's like, no, we agreed on this price and a hotel, and that's what we agreed on.
Have you
And
you've only had one show under your belt. Have you ran across guys like that yet that like try to come and hit you up for more money and they come up for different reasons? Oh, gas is expensive, this or
I
that.
ran,
I've
so
I've experienced that.
yeah, I ran shows for different people. When Jim
Okay.
when Jim Cornette moved from Connecticut back to OVW, I took over a lot of his responsibilities in talent relations, and one of them was to kind of babysit some of these third party shows. And Jim said,
Oh, okay.
"Hey, there's one you want to be involved with because this guy Sam Romanella, who runs a memorabilia store in Connecticut, he does really good business, and he's a really nice guy, and he's really well organized, and you'll enjoy working for him." And sure enough, I did. And
Okay.
Sam was a dream, easy. Everything was organized, everything was laid out, no problem. The only one that asked for something off the menu, shall we say, was Sabu. And
Yeah, well,
Sabu wanted pot. And I was like, he's like, you got any marijuana? No, I don't
probably
smoke.
better than what Jake wanted.
Probably, yeah. Do you know anybody who has any? I don't know, man. You can ask around. Not really my thing. Get
Wow.
on the intercom. Attention, attention, all the wrestlers.
Now, do we have any Smiz in the house?
Smiz. So anyway, as far as holding us up for money, no. Sabu, he was friendly asking, but there was always one thing that
Now,
stuck in my head because, and Sabu was easy to deal with, and did his match, and stuck around and did autographs at intermission, and then this was like at the end of the show. He was just looking
yeah.
for some Mary Joanna. Not
Do
an
you
un.
know of any do you know of any guys that you've heard of that would hold up the promoter either before the show, after the show, trying to find more money? I know guys that have held up people before they go out. Oh, the house is better than what I thought it would be. I need some more money. That's a grizzly old vet kind of thing they would do. But do you know any of the boys out there that were difficult to work with on the independents?
I'm trying to think if anybody was difficult.
Oh,
Um.
did you ask me, Kevin, if I knew? Oh, well, yes,
Oh,
Kevin.
well, I mean, Casey, you might have run across a name or two who may have been difficult. I would love to hear it.
Yeah, okay. Well, Kevin, let me think.
Funny you should ask, Kevin.
Surprisingly, yeah, funny you should ask. Surprisingly, most everyone was pretty well. I didn't have any issues.
Right.
There were two guys that would always call, ask for a little bit more money. Hey, you think you could bump that up another, maybe another 50, or they didn't care for the finish of the match. They think they could come up with something better because they didn't want to go, which Alex Porto
Oh,
was one of
really?
them. Yeah, yeah, and his partner, Frankie Lancaster.
What?
Yeah,
You know these
yeah, they'd always
guys.
try. Yeah, they'd always try to get a couple more bucks. Oh, uh, you know, gas was really expensive. This and that. I'm like, when I called and booked you, you told me the price. We agreed on it. That's it. So, those about
What?
the only other person would be, and it wasn't really. It was more him trying to get a booking. I finally booked him once. And I've talked about him, the Cuban assassin. David Sierra.
Yeah.
He'll leave it. Hey, brother, this is the Cuban assassin, and you can book me. I got this brand new Cuban heavyweight championship belt. I can bring that on the show, and this and that. I booked him once for you were on the show. I booked him and put him against um I think Simon Diamond and
Okay.
maybe Johnny Swinger with Antonio Banks, which was now MVP.
Uh huh.
Which he did
I.
good. He was fine. He worked, but I
Yeah.
kind of did it just because he had heat with me the whole, Paul Orndorff. I was going to book Good Christian Boys for him, and
Oh,
the
okay.
Cuban used to book guys, and so he got a little heat with me over that, and Paul kind of squashed it all, and um, I had a few back in the day when we had answer machines. I had a few nasty
Uh,
messages from him.
um,
It is what it is.
I
So,
I
but
never
it's all good.
I could never say a bad word about David Sierra. I could never say a bad word about him. He was always great to me. He
No, I'm
he
not saying anything bad about him.
Nope, just
I'm
being
just
honest.
saying he never argued about the money.
Mhm.
Everything was fine. It's just he'd always call me and try to get. I mean, which everyone was trying to get bookings, and that's what you had to
Yeah.
do was call the promoters. Hey brother, I can, oh that would be really good, a good angle. They're pitching their stuff to try to get on the show, especially when you have TV and stuff like that. Guys want to, you know, get on board and stuff like that. So but the funny thing is that his added perk was his Cuban heavyweight championship belt
Eh,
and everything.
um,
So, but
didn't
he
a
did
guy
work hard. I've worked him. I
Yeah,
worked him in matches myself. Had great matches with them, and he still works. Believe it or not.
I've seen it, and
Yeah,
he doesn't look too much older than he did 30 years
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
Like, he
It's
looked old in his 20s, and now that he's in his 60s, he looks maybe just a little older, but
yeah.
not like you would think. Isn't that funny? Have you ever seen those things like, this is what this actor looked like at 46, and
Oh,
he was gray
yes.
and
I
looked like
I sit there and I'm like, I don't know if I like them or don't like them.
yeah,
Because it gets me very morbid about, dying and stuff like like that, so I used
oh,
to watch them. I skip over them and stuff like that, um,
yeah,
but I've
and
been
Cuban's one
watching
of
a
those
lot of
guys.
wrestling this week, and, I'm watching this, me and my girl's been watching the latest season 7 or 6, whichever, the latest season of Dark Side of the Ring, so we've been watching that. That's pretty interesting. Then I started watching on YouTube last night. It was some documentary, some guy, um, NWF or something Superstars. He had like a documentary, and it had everyone in the world on it because he's used everyone in the world. I think he's a Pennsylvania guy. Um,
Oh, was it Jimmy Dio?
no, what's his name? It's gonna. I should have wrote it down. Um, but he is. It was Kevin Sullivan's on it. I mean, everyone in the world's on it, but Kevin. It was really cool. I was watching it last night because it was showing Kevin when he lived down in the Keys, out by his house and everything. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool because it was the time that I used to hang out with Kevin a lot. Was
Yeah.
right during this time, and Kevin had the guest house I used to go stay in and everything. We go out, snorkeling and scuba diving and all that kind of stuff, and so it was real cool. But one thing Kevin said, which I was like, wow, this is really, it's so much the truth. He says you start off on the independence and you end on the independence, and you hope maybe in the middle you have a run or two.
Yep.
And it's so true. Those words right there.
It is, and going back and watching the movie, because I watched it once, The Wrestler,
Yeah.
and the that first scene where the former big star, the former intercontinental champion, is lacing his boots in an elementary school, and I'm like, yep, that's it, that's it right there.
I have a story about that movie.
All right, let's hear it.
So Mickey Rourke lived in um, South Beach in Miami,
Okay.
and I guess he was didn't they wanted him to go up to New York to be trained by one of the Samoans, right? I don't know if it was Sika or Alpha, maybe Alpha. One of the Samoans trained him for the movie, but he didn't want to go up to New York. So somebody recommended me, asked them, "Hey, you know someone down in South Florida that has access to a ring could help you could train him or whatever?" And I think it was Billy Gunn who, because we go back. I knew him before either one of us got in the business. We all were in Eddie Mansfield's promotion together,
Yep.
and so he's like, "Yeah, I got a guy down there." So I got a call from one of the producers of the movie, asked me, "Hey, do you have access?" And I'm like, And I don't know if I did or not. Of course, I absolutely said, yes, I do. And because we've talked about how you never know, you have to throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
Sure.
So they approached me about being the person that trained him for the movie. And because he didn't want to go. And so I'm like, yeah. So I had everything all worked out. I had a building with a ring. I don't remember what the pay was, how much they were going to pay me to do it. It was going to take like about 4 to 6 weeks to train him everything to become a professional wrestler and help with all that stuff and everything. And all of a sudden they call me back and they're like, you know what? We appreciate all your help and everything, but either he's going to go, we're sending him to New York, either he's going up there or we're just going to go a different route, but he's going to go to New York to get trained. I'm like, ah, okay. So it was kind of cool, that, yeah, one of those almost opportunities.
You and I would have been in the same movie. I did voiceover work for the wrestler.
Oh, did you?
I
Oh,
did.
wow.
In fact, I was credited for a role that I didn't play, and it took Bobby Cruz out of the accreditation. I think I've told that
Oh,
story.
wow.
Bobby Cruz was so mad because they filmed the in ring segments, especially the end match, the Ram versus the Ayatollah, who was Ernest Miller.
Right.
They did that at a Ring of Honor show in like Edison, New Jersey, or something like that.
Oh,
And
okay.
they did a couple of different scenes. I think they did the hardcore match there as well. Anywho, um, and I had done some voiceover work. I actually got to work with Lenny Leonard, which was a thrill because he was a super nice guy and we'd always been friends. And so we got to
Right.
work together on that day. Went to Brooklyn, did a bunch of voiceover stuff, got paid, and left. And then the movie comes out, and I watch the movie, and I hear my voice a couple times, and I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Then I see the end credits, and it lists me under my real name, Kevin Foote. It lists me as the ROH ring announcer, and I was like,
Oh,
and that was Bobby Cruz. And
oh,
boy,
wow.
Bobby Cruz wasn't happy when we finally got together and talked about it. He was so upset because he actually went to the premiere of it wherever it was, and sat there with his
Yeah.
daughters and just waited to see his name in the credits at the end. And Kevin Foote,
Kevin,
what the
motherfucker.
fuck? Oh, he was so mad. He was so mad.
Wow.
And
You
Bobby,
had you got instant heat for doing nothing.
I didn't type it. I didn't change. I called and asked them to change it. And they said, "What? Are you crazy? I'm sorry. I'm sorry." Anyway,
Oh, that's
um,
great.
yeah. But no, that became like a little cottage industry for a lot of guys because I know that they hired a bunch of extras. So like Blue Meanie
Mhm.
and I think Tom Brandy and a few other guys that were in some of those
Yeah.
scenes. And um, if he trained with Alpha, then he, wherever that school was, he trained with him there.
Yeah.
And then of course all the guys from Ring of Honor who got the opportunity to do a little stuff. Those things are always exciting for wrestlers because you're
Yeah.
always hoping that it's the big break, Casey. This is the time. Hollywood's calling.
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep. Because you never know what's gonna stick.
You never
Because
know.
just like the wrestling business, I'm sure Hollywood's the same way.
Yeah.
The right place, right time, doesn't matter. You can be the most talented guy in the world, and something's in someone's head, and you fit that description, what they're thinking, and it's like, "Come here," and there it goes. It changes your
Yep.
life.
So,
So,
that was so. Of course, as I said earlier, I met uh, Wayne Bloom, and
uh,
needless to say, his kid is not going to get asked back for Below Zero Wrestling. Anyway,
so no
um,
below zero or
no,
WWE.
no. Um, so then the next day, I go to here Southern Joe. Just getting back to our last point. I interviewed Evan Ginsberg, the associate producer for the wrestler Small World. Southern Joe, even smaller world. It was Evan Ginsberg who booked me. Evan
Oh,
Ginsberg was the
really?
guy. Yeah, Evan Ginsberg was the guy who contacted me. And when he told me, I said, yeah, well, sure, of course. But I never expected anything to come of it.
Yeah.
And then was shocked when he called me back and said, hey, we're ready to
That's a
go.
lot of heat with guys.
Eh, I guess.
I just think it's one of those things where, um,
He's harmless.
yeah, yeah, I know. He just has heat because he thinks he's been in the business more when he's really never been in the
Right.
business.
I know. I know.
So, and people that take that personal, that busted their ass to get in the business, especially the old school way, where you had to pay your dues, they take that personal.
Yeah, I know.
Bob Cook.
No. Um, anyway, so then on Sunday, we went to St. Paul, Minnesota, which is
Oh, wow.
adjacent to Minneapolis, and it's the state
Hmm.
capital. And we went to the wrestling school of a very famous wrestler, but he hasn't been on TV in a number of years. And he was shot like a rocket to the top of WWE. And then
Yeah.
he got some heat with Randy Orton. And
Mm.
down he goes.
Is
Ken
that
Anderson, Mr. Kennedy.
Mr. Kennedy? Whoop.
Then he went to TNA for a while, and he was Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
And then he kind of got out of the business for a little while, and now he's running a school. And I guess he's run a
Oh,
school
really?
for a while. He had different partners in the school, and this will shock you. A guy who was known for getting heat in the business with the boys had heat with some of the boys in the business. Anyway, I don't know what for, and nor do I care. All I know is
Right.
that Kenny was always great with me. I booked him as an extra when he was just getting started, and
Yeah.
he got on the radar, got signed, was in OVW. Paul Heyman loved him, and they did something with him. But anyway, so he's running this school, and it's in downtown St. Paul in like an area because
Oh, wow.
it's like any other Rust Belt city. It's been on its ass, and there's a lot of poverty, but they're trying to rebuild it, renovate it, fix it up.
Right.
Blah blah blah. He's got this beautiful storefront wrestling school that's like right across the street from like the train station. The train runs
Oh,
right through the
wow.
town. You could
Wow.
take the train, you walk out the door, you walk 3 steps, and you jump on the train, and you can go back home. Um,
Nice.
and he had some really good guys. Holy moly! I'm like, where have you guys been? We just wrestle up here in the Midwest. Like,
Wow.
we got to get you seen and get you out other places. Casey, you would have
Yeah.
you would have booked 3 different guys that were there.
Oh, wow.
You would have seen them and said, "I'll take him, I'll take him, and I'll take him."
There you
Um,
go. Yeah.
and um, yeah, I can't remember their names. Apologies, um, because I didn't know them as wrestlers before this. But I was
Right.
really impressed with what they did. Their fundamentals are really good. Kenny's an excellent teacher,
Oh,
and I
good.
want to wish him the best of luck. So you'll see. And Ken is, getting back out there. He's doing some appearances. So if you get a chance, go out there and see him. And he was in a movie. I didn't even know he was in a movie. One of
Oh,
those
really?
WWF productions. And I didn't, kind of like the Marine or whatever. He has the
Okay. Yeah.
movie. He's got a movie poster for it. He's getting ready to, because they literally just moved into this school and they just got the all
Oh,
clear
so
to
they're,
start. Yeah, they're
yeah,
just for
decorating and doing all the stuff.
they're going to
Yeah.
decorate it, and it's got everything that you would need to be a good wrestling school. It's got weights, it's got
Oh,
a
wow.
ring. Um, it's like I said, it's downtown, so it's close to things, and it's air conditioned, it's heated, so it's a
Mm,
four season building,
yeah.
and I think he's going to do really well there. His wife is terrific.
Good.
She's his business partner. She's from Australia originally. They met when he
Oh,
went down
wow.
there on a wrestling tour, and she's terrific, very smart. I think they're going to do really well in this new space. But it was a fun weekend,
Well,
getting
that's
to
great.
getting to travel and getting to do all these things.
Now, did you
Man, did my
drive
show
to
lose
all
its
those places?
no flew. You could fly
Okay.
direct because I live an hour and a half. I live an hour and a half north of Baltimore,
Okay.
and Baltimore is a
Yeah.
major airport. And I was able to
Oh,
fly
yes.
direct on Delta to Minneapolis,
Yeah.
and both ways got upgraded both ways, and the flight was 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Nice. Oh, you
If I
got your
fly from
upgraded from having so many points from back in the
yeah,
day, huh?
Diamond,
Japan.
Diamond for 5 years.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
we had so many rollover miles and points from COVID because they said, oh, people didn't get to fly, so we'll roll over the miles. Oh, we'll do it again the next year. I had 600,000, and
Oh, wow.
they said, well, you can take cash value. you can take X number of mile, or you could get diamond for every year you had more than 100,000. So by the time they whittled it down, I had just short of 600. So I only got 5 years of diamond status. So I still have 3 more years left,
Oh, there you go.
but that's fine. Um, but yeah, so then the other big news, Casey, and again, you've always had uh, people from different fighting backgrounds work for you. Um,
Hmm.
and again, South Florida was always kind of a hotbed for, MMA guys or boxers. Like the whole
Oh, sure.
Berto family, was down in South Florida, so they were always involved in both boxing and wrestling. But there's a big
Yeah.
story out there that Rampage Jackson's kid hurt a wrestler really bad on an independent show.
Yeah.
And if you look at the footage, it looks awful. It
Yeah.
looks like this guy completely went into business for himself, and the dude that he hit apparently suffered severe injuries,
He
brain
was bleeding out of
trauma.
his ears.
Oh man.
I spent about an hour today just watching it, and I don't know all the behind the scenes stuff, but the guy that he messed up, he has to be a moron to begin with, because I guess, um, what's his name? Deja?
The
Um,
Rampage's kid?
yeah.
I thought it was Raja.
Raja, yeah, Raja. He was coming up with cameras, from what I understand. So this guy thought he was part of the show, so he takes a beer can and smashes it on the head, and they get a little heated there. And the guy apologized, multiple times. Oh, I'm so sorry. They shook hands. He said, "Oh, no problem. Okay." And so they're like, "Oh, the wrestling, how the independent scene works. Oh, let's take this and let's roll this into an angle." So they get Raja and say, "Hey, get your, give him his receipts. You get back going there, and you can, take them and, mount them and get a couple little shots on them, whatever, right?" So when the show goes on, the time's right. The guy does a finish move on his guy. Raja gets in the ring. It looks like he did like a sidewalk slam and slammed him on the side of his head, because when he hit that mat, he was knocked out,
Yeah.
and he mounted him and I think it was 22 punches
Oh,
before someone stopped it. And this dude was out before when he hit the mat, he was already out.
yeah.
And then it cut away, but I found more videos where like 4 or 5 guys got in the ring that are holding him back, and there's another big old jack guy that had him hooked up where he couldn't do anything, and he's still trying to fight them. I think he ended up headbutting another wrestler, headbutting to kind of get control, and it kind of went away from there. But yeah, there's a lot of talk on social media, people expressing their opinions, and um, man, it's yeah, he definitely went into business for himself,
Yeah.
and man, that looks like he could definitely, serve a little time in prison for that attack,
Do you know
because
what
it
state?
definitely was premeditated.
Right. What state was it in?
Tennessee.
Well, there is an athletic commission in Tennessee, and it's not very strict.
Oh, okay.
Um,
It was Knoxville Pro or something like that, the wrestling?
well, unfortunately, those people are going to have to deal with a lawsuit, and
Oh, I would imagine everyone's getting sued,
it's not
you
like
know
Hey, listen, it's not like it used to be when we broke in. We would do things to protect the business in that regard, and guys would
Right.
be. You would really get talked out of. You realize if you take this to court, you're going to have to expose the business.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't go.
Oh, I
Uh,
watched speaking of that, I watched an old, people's court with some big old, Titanic guy suing another guy, big old fat guy in a dress, um, for $600. He countersued him for 900, said he didn't train him and all kinds of stuff. It was the
nice.
drizzling shits of all reality TV. And it was so bad, I watched the whole thing. That's
Of
how
course,
bad it was.
that's how bad.
Yeah, it was like,
Um,
and I was
but
like,
when
I pray that neither one of them are in the wrestling business, because they were the type of people that just make the business look really bad, you know?
unfortunately, there's more of those people than there are people like us nowadays.
Yeah, because my during my time, I would actually be that asshole that would, you know what? You don't deserve to be in the business. You don't respect it. You didn't pay your dues. You don't show respect to anyone. So I'll just beat their ass and, hopefully they just go away. They quit. I ran off a lot of people. I tried to protect it as much as I could the way I was taught. And, I had some guys that were legit badasses that, were mentors and broke me in. So, um, what happened is the next generation kinda it's all what it is. It is what it is. Just let
Right.
them be. And now I say they allowed them to get into the business, and it's kinda that's what we got now.
Yeah. And it's scary when you think about it because again, what you're training and what you're teaching is, as we saw with Rampage Jackson's son, you have
Yeah,
someone's life in your hands. And
yeah,
if this guy doesn't die, what kind of quality of life is he going to have? What kind of brain damage did he suffer?
sure.
And nowadays, the business ain't like it used to be where it was protected. Now this guy is going
Right.
to name names, he's going to tell exactly what happened, and they've got all the
Mhm.
footage to back it up.
Oh,
So,
there's stuff with him afterwards. There's stuff with Rampage watching it at a bar, watching the video. And, like, freaking out. I've seen all kinds of stuff, yeah.
yeah.
But this kid looks like a kid he's an entitled kid that doesn't respect, um, the law of the land, that looks like he's just gonna end up in, you know, a degenerate that's gonna end up, getting in trouble down the road if he doesn't get in trouble for this.
I shut it off. I couldn't watch it after the first couple of punches because I hate that stuff. But
22.
yeah, the first thought I had was what Travis Scott did to Cody Rhodes.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, you know, the fact that Travis Scott went away and wasn't involved anymore after WrestleMania to me was like probably the best for everybody.
Right.
Because you can let people in the business and they don't understand it, they don't know what it is, and bad things happen. A lot of bad things can happen. Um,
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get sued. The building's going to get sued. The commission's going to get sued. Who insured the bill? Did they have insurance? If they
If it
did,
was legit liability
yeah.
insurance or is this like, "Here's a photocopy of it."
Oh, nowadays it's so easy to get insurance. By the way, for a show, I was able to get insurance like a couple days before, and
Yeah.
you just order it online, and it was like $314. So
Download the certificate and
yeah,
print
you
it out. They
you
show it
pay right.
9 ti so what's gonna happen if the building didn't verify their insurance? So, say, hypothetically speaking, say it's a scam document that it's not legit, that
Sure.
means the building's gonna be held accountable for everything.
Yep. Yep. And
So,
it's going to be bad. And again, Knoxville has been one of those areas that over the last few years, Tony Givens is a great promoter. He's not affiliated with Knoxville Pro, at least I don't think. Um,
right,
I'm not sure, but we have great mutual friend in Chase Owens, and the Knoxville scene has been doing really well over the last few years. It's been steady, and guys are able to go and make decent money, and the crowds are good.
yeah,
This isn't going to help. This is bad for business. These
yeah.
types of things, and if anybody says, "Oh, it's good attention, it's good publicity," no, it's bad publicity because people don't
Not when
want that.
someone's life and their brain
Yep.
activity, is, up at stake. Yeah, it's definitely not good,
And
any
again,
means.
what we know now, what we knew then, and what we know now, two different things. And I saw a lot of guys, they got their bell rung, they would continue working, they would finish the match.
Yeah,
Nowadays, we stop the match. Somebody gets an
right.
obvious concussion, ring the bell. I don't care what's going on.
Yeah,
Ring the bell. We're stopping the match because this athlete has gotten a concussion. And not one person in the crowd is going to go, oh, bullshit. Because everybody knows what we know now, that concussions are real, CTE is real. And I
sure.
know that you and a lot of your pals from your generation, we laugh and joke about it a little bit, but you guys all did damage to your brains.
Oh
Not
yeah,
intent. You
I'm
didn't go
sure.
out and say, I'm gonna get a brain damage. You just didn't know what was gonna happen when you
Right.
broke in. And you took
Yeah, that
chair
that
shots
feeling
and
of yeah, yeah. You know, if he would have just went out there and give him one punch as a receipt,
yeah.
I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, you knocked him out, but it's a receipt.
Mm-hmm.
But he gave him the receipt, and then he just kept on going, 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 and going 22 times till people physically drug him off. And then he still tried to break away and fight those guys and try to go back at it while the guy's out there just laid out cold.
Well, whoever explained it to Raja may not have told him that, right?
Right.
And he could have just been thought going along with what the plan was and not smart enough to realize that the spine buster knocked him out, thought the guy may have just been selling and was just laying there, and he just starts raining punches down on him.
Yeah, he's
I'm
the
not
only
making
person in
him,
the world that doesn't know wrestling's fake, right?
but they may not know what, they may not know if somebody gets knocked out. There was a scenario in Ring of Honor before I got there, before I started, and it was Roderick Strong against Delirious, and Roddy KO'd Delirious doing something, not
Right.
reckless or dangerous, but then kept going and finished the match. And the finish of the match, as you know, because it's a Roderick Strong match, a lot of big impact moves. And it's like
Yeah.
bang, boom, bang. Well, Delirious was out. And man, oh man, like how do you not know that? Well,
All right.
you don't know. And you just go along and you're doing your business. So even the experienced guy could be like, I didn't know. I thought you
I
were
think
okay.
that
I
would be
thought
a
maybe
little.
you got, you know?
Yeah, he has a mask on that might be a little harder to, because you
Yep.
can't see his eyes really,
And it
is good, but
and we've seen, there was a thing with the one of the shows when I was there was the Bravado Brothers. And they were a good young tag team, North Carolina. Both of them, well, one of them is in the not the varsity team, the varsity crew, but whatever the college rah rah guys are in NXT.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Anyway, that was one. The other one got out of the business and is
Oh
like a
wow.
dentist now, or was running for political office or both. Anyway, the one who's in NXT, he got a concussion
Oh wow.
and it finished the match, but we knew he wasn't right. And then he came back through and he was a mess because he
Yeah,
blanked, he blacked out. He didn't know what was going on. He was scared. He was afraid he was really hurt. And yeah, you got a concussion. It's okay, but
yeah.
you know,
Speaking of that YouTube video I'm watching about wrestling, an old name here that we both know, really well. Trent Acid
yeah,
was in that
was in what?
this video that I'm watching, this little documentary that I'm
Oh,
watching.
about yeah. Well, he was really like he was always booked. He was, Philly guy, and he was always booked on these types of
Yeah.
shows. What a
Yeah, so he
character.
was in that, which he's no longer with us.
Hmm.
He was a spot monkey, but he was yeah, I liked him. He was good.
There
He
was
came down,
something.
worked for me, worked his ass off.
There was something about him. Do you remember the idea
Yeah.
that we had?
I know. I yes. I don't.
Okay,
There was something, but I don't remember.
all right. So I'll refresh your memory. So your business partner at the
Okay.
time was like, we need a big name, and the biggest name that we could have gotten available at the time was Brock Lesnar
Yep.
because Brock had left WWF and was doing football or hadn't gone back to UFC yet, and was like, well, that would be a big name. And I remember we came up with the scenario where it would be Brock versus Trent Acid. And the reason being is
Okay.
because Trent Acid would talk that fight up. He would talk people into the building.
Yeah.
And it would have been something to see. I don't know. I don't know if it would have been any good. And I don't know if we could have gotten the match in the ring, but it would have been interesting. But that was how we thought of you and I both thought of him. It's like, no,
Right. Yeah.
he's a top guy. He's got his problems, he's got his issues like everybody else.
Yeah.
But as far as somebody who just was an agitator and but knew how to do it and could be safe in the ring with everything that he did, man, oh
Yeah.
man, Trent Acid
And,
was.
another guy that was on the I was watching it and I'm like, "Oh," I said, "That dude's an asshole." I said, "He owes me a couple $100." Was,
Who's that?
Necro Butcher
Oh,
because he no-showed, and not that I paid him up front, is just I paid for his flight that he never, took.
Necro Butcher.
So, I'm like my girl's like she's like, "I love watching these things with you because it's like I have another side commentary of all the other things that you know about them or, about them or experiences you've had with them."
Yeah,
So
we'll pause right here because I'm going to tell you about this Necro
well,
Butcher.
it's funny, I hit the remote and I always do like that. I'm like, "Click. Oh, let me tell you something real quick."
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, this guy. Oh, yeah. Um, but oh, and just to go back and I still have the poster hanging. I'll always keep this poster because it was the first show I promoted. It was great. We lost
Oh,
money,
absolutely.
but it was great. We lost money, but it was great. Um, and again, where this goes, we'll see. Right now, I'm not too sure, but yeah, did I tell you we lost money? Um, but in terms of quality of matches and
Yeah.
quality of people, you want to talk about a harmonious environment. Casey, this was a dream. Oh, you would have loved
Oh,
every
wow.
second of it. It was so easy. It was so easy. Um, it was just wonderful. By the time I got done
Yeah.
paying the people I could pay, I went out in the arena and every chair was put away. The whole place was clean. It was cleaner than how we found it. I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
Wow.
Yeah,
That's great.
what a crew. What a good crew.
I see that the guy that you use, Wrecking Ball,
Yep,
uh, we ended up, even before we even I ended up making all the shorts, and there was a short with him on it, but even before, just the little section we were talking about it, he, like, reposted it and,
he loved it.
put it up and everything like that.
He did more than anybody else in terms of social media to promote this show, and
Yeah,
for that alone, on top of the fact that he came wrecking ball, and he'll probably post this as well, and that's totally fine. This is
sure.
the highest level of recommendation I could give to somebody. He did everything that was asked of him and more. We didn't
Wow,
ask him to like, share, subscribe. We didn't ask him to do anything, but
right.
he went above and beyond, and he does it for every show that he's on. He's
Well, and that's
busy.
probably why he's on good shows and things like that because
Yes.
they're getting their money's worth and more, and I'll give you another example. We talked about second, third generation wrestlers last week on the
Yep.
show. And one of the shorts was about Billy Gunn and his kids, Austin and Colton. And we talked about it, how we both really liked them and stuff like that. And he retweeted,
There you
say
go.
that 3 times fast, the thing and said, "Hey, thank you for the kind words and everything."
Mhm.
And we started getting traffic and it took us right over that top. We're right at 500, from him. So it's like, you know, and he's doing the same thing, and he's at a higher level. He's still putting himself out there, to, we might have 500 people that are subscribers, but we
Mhm.
get thousands and thousands. I have a short that's up the other day on TikTok. It had 41,000 views so far.
What?
I was just on TikTok. Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate that a lot. Scott Robert the Sage there. Yeah, everything went well. 41,000 on TikTok.
Yeah. Just made no money though.
I
Lost
know.
money
We lost
on the
money.
event.
We did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, so, but they're self-promoting themselves,
Yeah.
both of them. Wrecking Ball is at a smaller level. He's with what, NWA
Yep.
Power with um ooh,
He's
my
with
mind
the
is gone
Billy
today.
Corgan promo. Yeah, Billy Corgan.
Smashing Pumpkins, I knew that. Billy Corgan.
Right.
Yeah, and then you got, Austin, he's with Tony Khan with AEW.
Right.
So, but he still is out there self-promoting himself, and that's the whole thing now generation guys have that is so much better than back in my day because none of this stuff was around in my day when
No.
I wrestled, so,
You wrote letters, you
for
sent
guys
videotapes,
to
and you made phone calls.
oh, yeah. to self promote themselves like that, you know. And I know this for a fact. I know a kid that was back when Bill Lamont was with the developmental program. The
Mhm.
one kid he wrestled for me, his name was Preston James. So him and Billy were somehow knew each other, and Billy was trying to get him up there. He's like him, and there's another one of the Vandals, the
Okay.
youngest one, Johnny Vandal. Um, when they're doing all the cruiserweight stuff, they're trying to do some stuff with him, and they're like, get your social media presence out there more and get more followers and stuff like that. So they want people that have a big social media following, to self promote themselves and their product.
Right.
So it's
They want to, and especially for the WWE ID program. Um,
yeah.
I don't know how far that's going to go, but whatever it is, okay, let's just
How
take
does that
that and
exactly
just
work
say
for people that might not know, like myself?
they sign you. They sign you to a contract, and I think it's valued at it's less than $30,000 for a year,
Mhm.
and that money is supposed to be used for you to travel and to get new gear and to get your social media following, make sure that if your social media is no good, get somebody who can help you to do it. Do whatever you can to get more experience and to be perceived as a bigger star. You're not
Right.
supposed to take the 30 grand and, put a down payment on a car.
Yeah.
But you're supposed to get new gear, do all this and that. Then you book yourself, and the thought process is, hey, this is a WWE ID guy, so it holds carries a little weight in terms of how the guy is going to be booked, where he's going to be booked. And
Right.
I do see several names that do get a lot of bookings, like Sean Legacy is somebody that I've personally seen. Um,
Yeah.
and but I think as far as what the end game of it is, obviously I think they want them to go they would be the enhancement guys, I think, for NXT.
NXT.
And Evolve is where
Oh,
Evolve
for
would be the
Evolve.
TV product where the WWE ID guys would go and be seen. And
Gotcha.
they
See, I
might
first I
be
thought it was independent promotions were because it would say WWID because a lot of them have like posters up and
there
stuff,
are
at their shows.
there are several affiliated schools, including one in the New England area, run by
Oh, okay.
Scott. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on his last name. I've known him for
Yeah,
25
Scott
years.
Blank and whatever his name is.
Scott
Yeah,
Blank
that's him.
and Mike Hollow,
Yeah.
Mike Hollow was down at the PC, or had he either went to the PC and took pictures with some guys, or some of the guys from the PC went up there and took pictures there. I'm not quite sure. Um,
I think I saw that picture.
yep, it was like
Yeah.
Ivar, our boy Hanson, and Mike Hollow. And Mike Hollow is a guy that if you've been around New England wrestling over the past 20 years, you know the name. Mike Hollow is, he's been a trainer. He used to wrestle. He was
Yeah.
wrestled for all the independents, did a lot of jobs on TV, and never was a star, but always was Scott Reed. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott Reed. There we go, Reed. And he also wonders that I'm shocked Kerry Morton isn't inked to a bigger deal. Well, I think Kerry Morton gets guaranteed money from the NWA. So
Mm.
uh, I don't think it's a question of isn't inked to a bigger deal, but he's already got a fairly, I wouldn't say it's get rich, but he's
What
probably
are the
making,
NWA guys making, you think?
oh, probably 2 to 300 a TV show, a taping.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So they're not under a weekly deal, they're under a
per event.
per show,
Yep.
perhaps.
And they'll do three, or I guess they do like at least 2 or 3 episodes of TV. So they're not getting rich, but it's probably the best payday of their weekend. And it helps
Right.
them, you would think, to get a little notoriety, certainly get a little tape that they could post because it's going to look good because it's television quality.
Yeah.
Um, but nobody's getting rich. The only guys that are getting rich are those in either WWE or AEW. They're the get
Yeah,
richers.
I was hearing the talk about Chris Jericho is making what 6 million a year from AEW, and now I guess he's going back to WWE. Is the word? And I guess he still has a couple months left, so he's sitting at home collecting his money.
Yep.
For whatever reason it was, the technicality that he would make more if he was on more. I don't know what the deal was, but he's making a good living still,
Oh,
very good
sure.
living.
And deserves it. He definitely
Sure.
deserves it.
Yeah,
You
he's
know,
always been really good about reinventing himself
right.
to being Chris Jericho, but a different version of him. And I think the one that I liked the most was more of a comedic version, is when he would I think it was WCW where he's reading what was he, the 1,001 Dean
He had a
Malenko with a
thousand.
1,001
Did he have
holds,
1,004?
and he was just reading. They went to commercial, and he read through the whole commercial. They went back live, and he's still reading number 572. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's just gold. That was great.
He and I think, and if I had to guess, because I certainly didn't. Chris did not confer with me about his upcoming decision if he is making one. But it just might be time for him to move on
Yeah,
because he's kind of wrestled everybody that there is, and I think at this point you got two choices: you either move on or you move down the card. And
yeah,
instead of doing a bunch of jobs and putting a bunch of people over, diminishing his overall star quality, if there's an
yeah,
opportunity to go and reinvent yourself again in WWE and to do something different, hey, why not?
sure.
So I think that's part of it. And yes, see, this takes me back now. Of course, if I remember right, and you do remember right, Scott Reed came from the old Steve Bradley WFA days. If I remember correctly, you are correct, sir. Steve Bradley was, by a lot of people's estimation, kind of the best wrestler that never really made it. Unfortunately, got hooked on drugs and died of an overdose. It was
Never
kind of
seen
in
that
that.
before, huh?
I don't know. Let's put him in the same category as a Trent Acid. He was very
Yeah,
much like, boy, just would give his life for wrestling, and um, it just got the better of him. Spent time in Puerto Rico.
living the gimmick all the time, huh?
Yeah, he tore up his knee in Puerto Rico, and he didn't tell anybody when he was undevelopmental because he didn't want to get heat, and so he started, taking painkillers to quiet the pain, and then got hooked on painkillers, and then it got worse, and yeah, it's just a tragic
Wow.
story, and we've seen too much of it, over the last 25 years, and it was one of those. That was one of the deaths that affected me personally because I was very close with Steve and got to know his
Oh, really?
family. And yeah, it sucked, but because he was somebody that when he went to Memphis, like I played a big hand in what he was doing creatively there, and it was an extension of what he had done in Puerto Rico. But let's position him in a certain way, and he's coming in and he's a star, and he was Kurt Angle's first opponent, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Memphis TV, he wrestled Kurt and was thought of quite fondly by Kurt in his book. Um, and he was one of those guys that if you were in the business at that time and you were around the New England independents, or if you were you know, in that circle, in that sphere, you knew the name Steve Bradley because you either worked with him or you seen him do jobs or whatever, and you were like, this guy's going to be something. We know it. And
Yeah.
it didn't click. And after he got let go, he went back to New Hampshire and he started his own promotion, WFA. And now that's what Scott Reed and others were reinventing, kind of rebooting the WFA, but now it's become
Right.
Elite Pro Wrestling because that was the name of the training center, and that's the one that's affiliated with the WWE ID program. So there you go.
I just looked up the documentary name. So if you see me looking down, I was actually reading my phone, and it
Tell it.
was Card Subject to Change from
Ah,
2011.
I'm gonna bring that up here on my phone so I can watch it after we get done
Yeah, and I
with
was
this
about
here.
halfway through. I mean, they had literally everybody on this show. So it kind of we've been watching Dark Side of the Ring, and then I just put it on last night because I was watching some stuff, and I was looking. I'm like, wow, this is like reminds you of a Dark Side of the Ring, because
Yeah.
each wrestler would talk about themselves, and then it would go into part of their personal life and everything. So it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm. Um,
So we were because because superstar Billy Graham was we just watched his episode of Dark Side of the Ring, and then we were all of a sudden, boom, there he is on this. I'm like, wow, it's like Billy Graham everywhere.
there was on, I always follow, there's like a few of these on this day accounts. And there was an independent show on this day in 1992, and it was
Wow.
in like New Jersey, somewhere. It was like in New Jersey, let's just say. And it was like King Kalua was on that show. King Kalua may be on this documentary, has been
Oh wow.
around since before then, going back to the 80s, I think, the late 80s. And I think may still wrestle occasionally all these years later. But that's one of those names that was like a staple on the independent scene. You had Nikolai Volkov in the main event. I think the name I mentioned before, Jimmy Dio. I think he wrestled Nikolai in the main event, and it
Oh, okay,
was
yeah.
probably two or three former WWF guys with whoever the local independent names were at the time. It was a fairly good show. It was like, oh, I know just about everybody. There was like only one name that I didn't recognize out of the whole show. So that must have been like,
Right.
that must have been one of the better shows at the time because they had pretty much all the good talent. Um, when you look at the way the business has changed, as we did this second generation thing a couple weeks ago now, um, and we look at how somebody like a Kerry Morton
Right.
can be, would you are you better off relying on your second generation past, or are you better off trying to be your own man and create your own legacy and your own lineage? I was thinking about Bo
Mm,
Dallas today while I was cutting the grass. Yes, I was thinking about
right.
Bo Dallas and his Bo Leave movement and all this and that. And he was really starting to get over a little bit, and they never did anything with him.
Yeah.
And they never really did anything with Joe Hennig. Um,
Right.
would and it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do I go in and try to be the second generation of my father, or do I try to be my own man? What if
I
you
mean, I find
what
it
what
funny
kind of
that
advice would you
WWE.
give?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because WWE, most of their second or third generation wrestlers, like you have um Rick Steiner's kid,
Yeah, he's
he's not
special.
known. Yeah, he's great, but he's not known as a Steiner.
No,
They recreated it, give him a name, and now people I've heard during the broadcast, they're saying, "Oh, about, being part of the Steiner family and everything now." But sometimes I wonder why WWE doesn't, you know, you know, get attached to that at all themselves. I mean, I wonder if they're
the easy answer is, well, they can own Braun Breaker.
right,
They can't own Rex Steiner or whatever his last name is.
right,
Um, so it seems almost too simplistic to say that's the reason. But is there a thought process behind it? Is it, well, it's going to make it easier for you to get over if you're not in your dad's, you know, big shadow. Um,
right,
yeah, for Kerry Morton, who is a terrific young man and is a very good young wrestler, very accomplished outside of wrestling as well, doesn't need wrestling to be successful or to make money. He's a smart, sharp guy. He's
right.
not his dad, and he's his own style of wrestler. But if you hear that, and if you say, "Oh, this is Kerry Morton, Ricky Morton's son," do you have like a preconceived notion of what the style that he's going to wrestle? And he's different. It's so difficult for it's got to be difficult for a second generation guy.
Yeah, I would think it would be a little difficult. They'd have pluses and minuses and everything, but especially in that. You imagine being the second generation, and I'm not saying anything about Ricky Morton at all. Don't get me wrong. Imagine being a second generation like Wayne Bloom's kid,
Yeah,
the dad known to be an asshole, you
and
know,
still is.
and not just from one person. It's not alleged. His own partner would tell you how bad he was back
Yeah.
in the day.
And he
So
didn't. Oh, Von Wagner. That was who he wrestled as. Von Wagner. Thank you. I just remembered that. Um, Second generation guy, and I did want to get your thoughts on this because it was something I saw. Richie Steamboat too, although he may have messed his back up. Perhaps Scott, I can't remember. I know he's out of the business now, but he's very active on social media and he posts a lot of his dad's memorabilia and cool things. Did you see the copy of
yes,
the check
yeah,
from WrestleMania 3?
yeah,
50 grand.
yeah. I actually read it. I thought it said 5,000.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so when you realized it was 50, did you say too much,
Yeah, it made
not
more
enough?
sense.
Just
Um,
that's
I think it's on par.
yeah,
You know, if you're not Hogan or in Hogan's match, you're not going to make that next level money back in those days.
right, right.
I mean, that's why everyone strives so much. That's why Jake was so mad because he never had those runs with Hogan like he should have to make that big money. You know, a, Jake was an incredible wrestler, second generation wrestler. Also, his dad being Grizzly Smith, which I guess if everyone learned from Dark Side of the Ring was such a scumbag.
God, what an
And
awful human.
I've worked with Grizzly a lot back in WCW. He was one of the agents then when I first started.
Jesus.
And yeah, no one knew about this stuff.
No. It's and you look at those things and now okay, so did Jake not get the chance to work with Hogan because they may have thought Jake was a little unreliable? Maybe.
Uh,
I
well,
don't
yeah,
know.
that could be it. You know, yes, Jake is because Jake was getting over too much and Hogan didn't want
Oh,
it, which is believable, I guess, because we've all seen that Hulk is, that doesn't work for me, brother, kind of thing. You know,
sure.
Hulk is going to look, Hulk always looked out for himself. That's the most important thing. But we all know from history that he always took care of all of his boys and his clique.
Yes. He always did. And yeah, listen, there were some shows that Hogan was on, and it wasn't always an immediate sellout. I've been really diving back into
Yeah.
the archives of WWF matches from like 85, 86. And it's the full episode, it's the full show. Like they did TV for Prism, which was the local cable channel. They had one for MSG, they did one for Boston Garden on
Yeah. Yeah.
Nesson, and they did the Philly Spectrum shows on Prism. And they had local crew, local announcers, and it was like, oh, I can't remember the guy's name. Dick something or other was the play-by-play guy, and Monsoon was sort of the color analyst, just to keep the boat in the water. But
Yep.
Hogan wrestled on a show, and I think it was Hogan and Patera, and the story was, as we look back in history, 2 days later, Ken Patera went away to prison for his throwing a boulder through a McDonald's window. So he had to start serving his sentence 2 days after this match, and it was
Wow.
it was like it was the only time he ever got a shot at. Uh, he never got another shot at the WWF Championship after this,
Hmm.
and Hogan only beat him with a roll up, and it was like I think they just wanted to send him out on a high note and not beat
Hogan
him
with the roll
clean.
up. Hogan knew how to do a roll up. That's
He did.
gets me the
He
most.
he
How
rolled
did
him
it
up.
look?
It looked like a roll up. It looked just fine.
Oh,
I think Jerry Briscoe would have approved. Um,
okay.
but he didn't beat him with the leg drop, and
Wow.
but it didn't draw either. There were only 6,000 people in the Philly Spectrum, and they had done like
Wow.
11, 12, up to 19. They had a lot of ups and downs in Philly. It wasn't necessarily a sellout, but this was a Hogan tour, and
Yeah.
it didn't have a lot on the undercard. It was really just Hogan. Dick Graham, thank you. You know this this Scott, I'm telling you, thank you, Dick Graham. He was a character on those Philly Spectrum. Woohoo! He was cheering along.
Speaking of Philly
Yeah.
or Pennsylvania, that documentary I'm watching that you're going to watch
Yes.
is called
Did you say
NW National Wrestling Superstars is the name of the
okay?
promotion. I don't know if you've familiar with it or not. You'll
I think
probably
I
know the
am.
guy when you see him.
Card Subject to Change documentary, and I will watch that.
Yeah, it's I got about 25 minutes left. I thought it was I was doing show prep where I can familiarize myself with more of the wrestling stuff. You know
There
what
he
it
is.
does is it actually brings up stories.
There's our boy Trent Acid.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it because it brought back a lot of memories. Seeing Kevin in that time,
Yeah.
the way he looked and everything, is when I spent a lot of time hanging with him. Right when he opened his gym, Froggy's Fitness, down in the Keys, and so it's like it was cool.
He is cool. Um, all right. So we've covered, I think, everything. Obviously, the news that we need to be talking about. Do you think AEW intentionally or unintentionally inflated the market and did irreparable harm to the wrestling industry? That was one of the assertions that's been made from the WWE camp as of late. One of the reasons why they want to put AEW out of business. What do you think about that?
What do you mean inflate the market by paying guys too much?
Overpaying wrestlers,
Well,
and
I don't think that
therefore,
was. I don't think that was. No, the way I look at it is Tony Khan was a fanboy of wrestling. He was probably a fantasy booker back in the
mm-hmm,
day. Probably was sat there and wrote formats of shows that he, wanted to see and do. So,
I think he did.
so the fact that his dad is a multi-billionaire,
Yeah,
he has fuck you money. So to get the talent that he's got, the names and everyone he got, well, you know what? You got to have that kind of money for people to get behind you and believe.
right,
Because if you was just a guy that was trying, they'll get behind you, but they wouldn't be 100% like there because they know the money's going to run out eventually, right?
right,
Well, when you know that the money's never going to run out, they'll do whatever. And you can tell that they do whatever because the product it's not my cup of tea, shall we say. It doesn't always make sense.
right.
You work there, Kevin. You could explain it a lot better than me. So I just think that I don't think it was intentional. I just think that he was like, you know what, this is what I want to do, and it's his playground. It's his ball, and if he doesn't like it, he can go home with it because he's the one that controls it.
I
So I don't
think
think it was an intentional thing. I think it was just that you know what, I can do it, and for me to be able to get these guys to do it, I spend some money, and it's not going to hurt me. It's not going to hurt my family,
right.
and that's what I think.
I find it ironic that WWE of all people is the ones that are screaming about, controlling the marketplace when they're trying to do the exact same thing by putting AEW out of business.
And
Because they
the
could,
history of it, look at Vince.
yeah, look at exactly
I
what
mean,
they did.
how many places did Vince say that he was going to pay them money and stole the territory?
Yeah. I mean, did it to Stu Hart, did it to Sam Muchnick,
Yeah.
did it to probably did it everywhere he could.
He
Kansas
put
City.
Vern out of business by just taking all of his guys.
Yeah, that was petty
I
theft at
mean,
that point. I mean, because there wasn't much after he took
so I
Hogan.
mean, they can't. It's like the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
the lineage of Vince McMahon Jr. That's the lineage of Junior's heir of wrestling. He just stole it, took it, and didn't care.
Right.
So Um, I think I hear that WWE might be buying TNA.
Yes.
Um, I think what happens is it makes the product, this waters down the product when they own everything, because the boys don't have nothing over their head because they have nowhere to go. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, yeah, they're worried about it because they have to pay more because there's a alternative without Tony Khan. And I've never met Tony Khan. I don't know the guy. But I will say, as much as I don't care for his product
Mm-hmm.
for a million different reasons, I think he's helped wrestling more than anyone has in the last 50 years of wrestling, because he's made an alternative where the boys have somewhere to go.
He's made more new millionaires in wrestling than
Oh,
Vince has.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you know, somebody like an Eddie Kingston, for example, who
Yeah.
earns every penny of the money that he gets from AEW, no doubt about it, and is an ambassador for the company and has done everything that's been asked of him. And he's out on injury right now. He had to get his knee all rebuilt, but he's coming back
Yeah.
probably sooner rather than later. Anyway, if he makes a $500,000 a year or $1 million a year, it's worth it. Pay him. It's
Right.
whatever. If Casey, if you wanted to pay somebody 200 and somebody else wanted to pay them 100, you're not affecting the $100 promotion because they can
Right.
say, this is what we're going to pay you. And this is, if you don't wish to work here for the amount of money that we pay you, then go back and work for the other guy who's going to pay you more. Go right
Right.
ahead. That's called
Yeah.
competition. That's called business. But WWE
Yep.
always finds a way of coming out looking like a little bitch. And I don't get it because
Yeah.
they spend time, effort, energy talking about their competition, and they don't need to, man. They don't need to talk about anybody. They could just talk about themselves and they could talk about TNA or their guys that are on TNA or whatever.
Do
And
you think it's changed because Vince is gone, that now they recognize them as competition or this or that? Or
I think that's one of those areas that probably Vince wouldn't have tread upon, although he
right.
famously did with Ted Turner. But at the time, Vince was had his back against the wall, and
Yeah.
he was number two, so he needed to talk
Right.
about the big dog, which in this case was Ted Turner's wallet and checkbook. And Eric Bischoff got Ted Turner to pay money. Um, and again, where were they complaining about? Was it skewing the market? How about this? I'll give you this story. So when Mark
Mhm.
Marrow and Sable came to see Vince, Vince was so in love with Sable, right, instantly that he made an offer to Mark Marrow for $350,000 a year guaranteed. This is in 1995, early 96, whatever it was.
Which was
And
unheard of there.
unheard of, was more money than The Undertaker was making, more money than Bret Hart was making.
And he walked in with instant heat, didn't he?
Oh, brother, did he have heat. And that was one of the few times that Jim Ross, who at the and again, this was JJ was kind of on the out, not really there. I'm
Right.
not really sure what was going on, but for whatever reason, Vince decided he was going to be the guy to handle the negotiations, and he overpaid Mark Marrow. Was anybody saying that Vince was trying to skew the market by overpaying for Mark Marrow? No, he made a mistake. He didn't make a good investment. Now he wound up getting Sable out of it, and Sable made some money for the company.
Yeah.
So did they wind up even on the contract? I don't know. I don't think so. But
But knowing Vince and what we know of Vince now, you think
yeah,
he paid all that money because he wanted Sable there too?
yes, I think he did. I think he saw
Okay.
I think he saw a star in Sable that he didn't see in Mark Marrow. And again, I'm sure he never met Mark Marrow, never had seen him wrestle before.
Right.
Just knew what people had told him that he was Johnny B.
Although
Bad in
knowing Vince, you
WCW.
probably love the Johnny B. Bad gimmick, though.
I'm surprised that they never did it, or probably couldn't
Yeah.
because of some sort of intellectual property. But
Right.
nevertheless, I mean, geez, they're stealing from Little Richard. What's the difference if
Well, they
another
had
company steals
WCW
from?
had Little Richard there too.
Yeah, I mean, Vince would have.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that was one of the things that
That's
we
right up
talked about.
Vince's alley.
Why didn't he just do Johnny B. Bad? It would have been so much better. But nobody accused Vince of skewing. We accused Vince of making a bad deal because he overpaid for Johnny
Yeah.
B. Bad, and then he had to pay Taker and Brett more to make them at least even with Johnny B. Bad with Mark Marrow because it was causing all kinds of uproar in the locker room. Um, and I think
Mm.
that if WWE decides that they want to put Tony Khan out of business, they're going to have to fight for a long time. Because, like you
Uh,
said,
those
uh,
are those are deep pockets right there.
Dad's got some
Deep
money.
pockets. Yeah.
Dad's got NFL owner money. There's
Yeah.
rich, there's really rich, then there's NFL owner rich.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but the money he's playing with, isn't it his inheritance? It's not even his dad's fortune.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's probably one way of looking at it. I'm not quite
I'm
sure
sure
how
he
the.
wants to he wants to turn a profit, but
Yeah. And
put
are
it
they?
this way, I was thinking the other day, in my head, I had it all figured out that if I had $5 million, actually 1,140,000 a year, I could
Yeah.
run a 4 to 5 day a week territory with TV in Florida.
All right, so let's
Back like
get
the old
that.
championship wrestling, huh?
Why don't we just start? What do we got to do to get this
Well,
money?
I'm working on it.
Well, listen, if you put the.
I'm laying the foundation. And I
You
figured 5 years that would cover 5 million. That would cover for 5 years. And if 5 years I couldn't be sustainable, then I just need to go away anyhow.
yeah.
But for 5 years, I could have it covered where I could have a full roster full time, and they'd be making Memphis money. 750 a week, or better than Memphis actually.
Yeah.
Memphis was $40.
Memphis
So,
was,
but
yeah, was 200, 250 a week. Awful.
yeah, but I'm like, because we've always talked about people aren't getting their reps in, this and that. I know NXT is running some shows like that, trying to get that out there and everything. But I was like, I was just sitting here thinking while I was trying to go to sleep and everything, and I figured it all out.
You
I
start to
had
do
it
the
all worked
math.
out once before, and I went over it with Mike Graham, and he's like, "You have it." Actually, we talked about it before.
We did.
Yeah,
We did talk about it. And
yeah,
again, what you're looking at, okay, so you're looking at an expensive media market in Florida, which was one of
yeah,
the things that Championship Wrestling from Florida always had to deal with. And now this is 40 years removed from that. So the prices of media in Florida have only gone up. But I'm sure that there are cost effective ways to get
yeah.
buildings, to get talent. Talent's going to be there. Don't That's the least of your worries.
Oh, that's the least of the worries
Yeah.
was
You
talent.
you got to get TV and you got to get buildings.
Yep.
Um, and then after, it's one of the things I thought about with the deal up here because
Yeah,
there's enough infrastructure when it comes to buildings, when it comes to school gymnasiums, college campuses, that type of thing, and you
right.
could run a fairly conservative schedule and run 2 or 3 shows a week and everybody would make decent money. You would just
Right.
probably have to get a job to make it worthwhile for you to move and
Right.
uproot and do all this and that. And that's not
Yeah.
unheard of. Guys that were in
Yeah.
OVW had guaranteed money every week and they worked at Chili's or whatever.
Yeah,
They
I
did what
had
they
it
had to
the
do.
way I figured it out. We worked 4 days, 4 shows a week, but two on 2 once a week, like two on Saturdays, do TV in the morning, then do a show that night. And they'd
Hmm.
be set towns where you'd build it up like the old ones, three towns that were set towns that you're there every single week, and then you would have spot shows, which I always thought it was funny. And Bugsy was talking about this. He always thought it was funny that the spot shows were always on a Friday and Saturday night,
Hmm.
you know? He's like, the
Right.
nights that are the best nights to promote, like they do now, was
Well, you
when
would
they
think.
had their spot shows. So,
But
I was
again,
putting some,
it
but
was
this is
harder
kind
to
of
get
thing that,
yeah, it was
yeah,
harder to
this is
get like the
something that
West
could
Palm Beach
actually take,
Auditorium, yeah, on a Friday
yeah.
or Saturday night. You would pay
Oh, what a fun
less.
building that was.
Oh, it's amazing to have that on a Monday and 52 weeks a year on a Monday.
Yeah.
But
You're
if
gonna
the
get a better
circus came
rate.
to, you're going to get a much better rate. And they did that with the Mid South
Yeah.
Coliseum in Memphis. Um,
Yeah.
Thursday was Evansville, and that was really the end of the week. Friday and Saturday, or Friday would be Biloxi, not Biloxi, Tupelo, Mississippi, or a spot show. Saturday was a spot show,
Yeah.
and then the week began on Monday and they would tape TV Saturday morning, and guys would either head east towards Knoxville or head west towards whatever spot show, let's say Jonesboro, Arkansas, or something like that,
Yeah.
um, Pascagoula, Mississippi, wherever they were running, and they would and then reconvene on Monday night at the Mid South, start the week again. So
Yeah. You know, the
you
funny thing is, this is how things like this that we're talking about, we're just shooting the breeze, talking about it. This is how things actually happen, though, you know?
yes, I looked at there was an old picture put up on Facebook of Fritz von Erich and his wife and Sam Muchnick standing outside the Palms Hotel, and you could tell it was like from the '60s from the way they looked and the
Right.
the time. And they were there for the and the sign of the Palms Hotel said "Welcome National Wrestling Alliance," and they had their big
Oh,
annual
wow, the
convention at the
convention.
Palms every year.
Yeah,
And it's like, man, that would have been something to be a fly on the wall to be invited to one of those meetings. You want to talk about being able to do business? Holy moly!
sure. Oh, absolutely.
I'll
Yeah.
give you. I know
Actually,
the answer.
they just had the 59th um annual cauliflower alley convention.
Yep.
It was in Vegas last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Congratulations to our pal Dr. Tom Pritchard for receiving
Yes.
his Hall of Fame induction. Good job, Tom.
Yep.
Bruce was there to do the speech.
Boy, did
So
he have a suit on. Did you see that suit?
I did. That
It
was
wasn't a
something.
Michael Hayes, but it was, wow. It looked like he was living the 70s.
It was a light colored suit with I couldn't describe the print on it, but it was unique.
I thought about playing
And
checkers.
it may have been a little checkerboardish, yes, if I do remember
And
correctly.
Mick Foley was there, and he probably had the same flannel shirt on that he always had. I think he's to tie dye now.
Yes. I've got our topic for next week, by the way, Casey.
Okay.
Is the art of calling it in the ring dead? I want
Ooh.
I want you next week. Let's talk. And by the way, thank you, Scott, for all of your comments and suggestions here during the show. Let's
Where's
talk
Scott?
about,
Scott, where are you from?
yes, where is Scott
Where
from?
are you located? Where do you hail from,
He knows a
Scott?
lot. He says he's been a fan since '88, but he hasn't watched anything nationwide in a year. '70s to '90s is my jam. The modern stuff bores me. But he knew Dick Graham, so he could be from the Northeast. Where is Scott from?
Right.
But let's talk about that next week. Let's talk about what it was like to call it in the ring, and let's explain it to the fans who may not truly understand how much is called in the ring, what was called in the back, what the differences were, how
Yeah.
you approached it as a heel, how you approached it as the veteran, or how you approached it as the newcomer, the young guy who had to listen
Yeah.
to the veteran. I would love to hear about that next week. So dust
Sounds
off the
good.
memory bank.
Woo.
You got a week to prepare.
I gotta have, what
And
is it, melatonin?
not melatonin.
Oh,
That
I
puts you
think
to sleep.
melatonin puts you put oh
Yes.
oh well, I think when I sleep though.
That's why we need a sponsorship with Alpha Brain. We need a good
There you go.
sponsorship with Alpha Brain. I don't need a sponsorship with Blue Chew. We don't need that. Maybe you do, Casey. I'm fine. But whatever, if there's something that enhances our brains, that's what we need.
Yeah.
That's why Alpha Brain would be a great sponsor for this show. 500 subscribers and growing.
Yes. Probably not what they're looking for yet, but hey, we're getting there.
He was a
It's just
he was a New Englander, and he was in the Indies
oh,
for a bit,
okay.
as he says here. So, does Scott know the Lobster Man, Jeff Costa? That's the because he's like a legend. We need to try to get him on this show. I need to introduce you to the Lobster Man. I don't know if he would. I got to make this happen though.
Okay.
Jeff Costa was a Kowalski guy. He was trained specifically by Walter Kowalski, and
Oh wow.
he worked in some of the smaller territories. He was never a big star, but he wrestled quite frequently in Canada. He did a lot of work with Emile Dupree in the Maritimes. He also worked in Vancouver, Al Tomko and those guys out west, and then came back east. And he set up shop as a trainer and trained a lot of great guys, and is one of the classic. You want to talk about Carney with a small C, but just a delight. Like just his stories are what propels a lot of us on dark days. And all of my dealings with Jeff are secondhand. Like I
Oh
know all
wow.
the stories because I've heard them so frequently.
Yeah.
But like the first time he ran a show, he called up guys, and Brutal Bob was one of them. And it's time to pay the guys. At everybody knows Costa and Maverick Wild. Yes, you're exactly right, Scott. Maverick Wild was his right hand man, and they're Mav has done a lot of things, telling Jeff Costa stories over the year. So anyway, Jeff Costa he's running his first show, and you go in to get paid, and he's got a gun on the desk, and it's like, why do you have a gun, Jeff? Well, I don't know, you guys. You might try something. Might try something. That's $25, But
Mm.
there's just so many of those classic stories that if we have Jeff on and he's you know of the storytelling mindset. Sometimes he is, sometimes he's not, because he's very protective of the business and great respect.
Right.
Like he's one that taught. He ran for president. Lobster Man ran for president because there was a guy named Wolfman, one of his guys who won 60 million in the lottery, and that became a financier for a lot of his endeavors. Um,
Oh wow.
anyway, so but like Jeff is very protective of the business, and it was like
Well, just let them know we only have 500 subscribers, so not many people are going to watch it. So we should be okay in
he'll be
that
fine.
regards.
You'll be fine, Jeff. Um, but like how they used to have a finish room,
Yeah.
and you would go in there with your opponent, and you would talk away from everybody else, and you would be very politely asked if you wouldn't mind putting your opponent over tonight, and it was up to you to say yes or no because it was your business.
Okay.
Nowadays, here's the show. I just want to thank everybody for being here. Match
Oh,
one.
you get a text like a week before.
Oh yeah, you're going over on him, and he's going to go over on this one, or the sheet's underlined with who's going to win. It's like, don't you know how to protect anybody's business anymore? No, because none of these people knew.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the lesson that I learned indirectly through Jeff.
Oh, cool.
I'll work on that. I'll see if we can do that. But next week we're going to talk about the art of calling it in the ring because only you could tell that story, Casey. I can't. I can only say what I know from hearing from other guys like you. So you're going to teach all of us next week, and I'm really looking forward to it.
All right. And I have a guest that we are just trying to figure out the scheduling.
Well,
So,
good. Is it a big
and he
name?
was
Because
big name.
I'm not dealing with any of these ham and eggers like I got.
Yeah. He was and is and still a big name in wrestling.
Well, good. Get Paul on the phone. Make it happen.
Exactly.
Uh, who's your football
That's
team,
who I
by the
called.
way? As we go to NFL season, who's your NFL team? You got one?
No, sir.
Not a football
No,
fan.
I no, I played every sport there is. I just can't watch sports on TV. It
Huh.
just I just can't do it. I played everything. I can go and watch it live, but I can't sit and watch it. So
You don't have a
no,
rooting interest for
I'll go
one
with
team or another.
my son's favorite team, um, which is I think it's Green Bay. Yeah, Packers.
Can't go wrong with the Packers.
Yeah,
They're always good. I'm a New York Giants fan, handed
right.
down, second or third generation. My father was a Giants fan. So it's Giants, Mets, Rangers, Knicks. That's my New York sports because I was born in New York. Now, you being a Michigander, do you have any allegiance towards the Lions at all?
Why would I?
They're
My
good
dad was
now.
a Lions fan. I mean, through thick and thin, and
Yeah,
a lot of thin with
mostly
them.
thin.
A lot of losing seasons.
You got Thanksgiving and nothing else. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Okay. Well, and again, as a Florida State grad, all eyes will be on the TV next Saturday at 3:30 against Alabama in the newly renovated Doak Campbell Stadium, and a newly renovated team after their 2-10 disaster last year. I don't know
Oh
any of the
wow,
play. Like it's a whole new team. Like they have an entirely new offensive line. Casey, they have. I
wow.
think they turned like 70% of the team over, and that you can do that now with NIL. You can
Yeah.
send guys on their
Oh
way
yeah.
and bring new
It's
players
it
in.
NIL. It's so crazy. It's just crazy. They're all professional athletes now at a lower level. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it is
I am a big fan of the WNBA.
really.
Um, the shorts with what's her
Oh,
name? Angel Reese. These
clank.
ones like they're me bound. Me bound is her shooting and missing and getting the rebound. They call her me bounds. They're like, how can she miss 10 games and still be in the top 4 or 5 for turnovers
Because she's
for the season and miss the last 10 games?
well,
And Caitlin
yeah,
Clark is the white girl that is shooting the threes from the men's NBA regulation. I mean,
yeah.
she's like they show attendance is up and everything. I just love watching the shorts about those two and all that. So
They're just clowning
it's
on
and then
Angel Reese.
I guess the
Yeah.
latest thing is that Brittany Grinder allegedly is her got DNA tested over in Russia. She's actually a male
What?
and not a female. Yeah, yeah,
Damn.
it's crazy.
What's in these Russian
But
DNA
they're all
tests?
protesting. They want to make more money. Meanwhile, they haven't ever turned a profit. The NBA's been funneling them,
Well, sure.
financing them. So, yeah,
There's but listen, the upcoming women's professional hockey league, they've
is it?
sold I swear it's a thing, and they've sold I don't know what 14,000 season tickets in Denver. So
Never heard of it.
yeah, it's going to be a
Now that we
thing.
talked about it, my phone's going to hear it, and I'm going to start seeing advertisements for it.
You will start seeing it because that's how the intrusive nature of Facebook works. But all right, so
Yes,
next week we're going to talk about calling it in the ring. Some of you fans may go, I've never heard of that. What do you mean by that? Or we hear a little bit of it. Casey's going to explain it to you like it's wrestling school. Like we're going to wrestling school next week, Casey, and you're going to teach us all how to do this and what we would be listening for and what it sounded like and the pros and cons, et cetera, et cetera. I can't wait to learn.
perfect. I'll be melatonin it up and ready to go.
Melatonin. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the In Ring Wrestling Podcast. Of course, as always, we thank you for watching right here on YouTube. Of course, you can like. It helps the algorithms if you just hit the like button, and of course, you can subscribe so that you will always be a part of what we're doing. Hit that little bell notification in case we decide to jump in live. You never know when. If there's late breaking news, we might be here to try to fix it. But so
Yep.
wherever you see us, however you hear about us, whatever you're doing, we thank you. And 500 plus subscribers, we thank all of you, and we look forward to continuing to deliver content to you that you feel is worth your while, and hope that number keeps on growing, Casey, as we get towards 1 million.
1,000's the next goal.
Oh, 1,000 is the next goal. Okay, all
We're
right,
going to
all
take
right.
over the world eventually. So
Eventually,
just
one
one
step
person
at a
at a
time.
time.
One person at a time. All right. So for Casey Thompson, I'm Kevin Kelly. We'll see you next week right here on the In Ring Wrestling Podcast.